Hey guys, so I wanted to show you guys what I've done with my hidden service Nextcloud. So to rehash, let's talk about the fact that this cloud is blocked from the normal internet. So this cloud does not show up on port scans. If somebody port scans the entire IP addresses of the internet, they will not show this Nextcloud. It is stored over Tor Hidden Service. So if someone would need to know the long .onion address, they would also need to know a login and password all at the same time. It also doesn't show up on Shodan as port scans don't work, and it is blocked from the normal internet. So this adds a little more obscurity, security through obscurity, and it also adds extra layers of protection for users and the server itself. The IP address is not viewable by the users, and the users' IP addresses are not viewable by the server. If we go into my code section, at this moment I don't want this public. I also don't want it accessible if someone had access to the server. Server-side encryption setup, and what that does is it uses AES encryption to store all the files. So even if someone were to have privileges to read that file, they wouldn't actually be able to read it. As you can see, I'm actually logged in as root here, and we have the file right in front of me. Now if I were a malicious user, I still wouldn't be able to read it. As you can see, it's all encrypted, and you can see the cipher here at the top. It's AES 256-bit. So everything I upload is going to be encrypted on the server. I've also set up end-to-end, so if I want to integrate it with my devices, it can be encrypted on the client side. What that means is in transit there's no worry about anything happening to that data. It wouldn't be recoverable because it would be encrypted along the way. I wanted to update you guys with some of the other features of Nextcloud, and I also, of course, I want to go over more of how I set this up, because as far as I know, I'm the only one on YouTube that has been talking about a Tor Hidden Service Nextcloud. I searched for it and I didn't see any other videos, so I thought that would be a cool thing to show you guys. Of course, I'm going to give you the gist of it in the next videos. So we have ways we can customize our cloud. We can change the theming. We can change everything else. We can check on our server and see how it's doing, see the uptime, memory. We can also go to the logging and make sure nobody has tried to log in. Of course, we don't want anyone to try to hack into our cloud, but of course they wouldn't even know it exists unless we gave them the .onion address. You can do a variety of different sharing. You can federated cloud. You can actually join the open cloud mesh, and all you need to do is share your federated cloud ID .onion, and you can share files with other users. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. Go over to books, for example, and say we want to go to our programming book. We want to share that with somebody. We don't have to share it with someone in the federated cloud, but we do have that option. And when we open a file, we can read it right here on the web page. So it's nice and convenient. You don't have to actually download the files. The files themselves are stored using AES encryption on the server side. So if you're using another person's device, or you're using a public access system, of course, you know, all login credentials and everything are encrypted. We have multiple layers of protection for the privacy of both the server and the user here. So I wanted to go over a little more on how I set this up, and I wanted to show you guys how I customized it a bit, just to share that with you guys. This is the best, most private way to host your own cloud. You can host it in your own home if you like. I'm using a Pi at the moment, and as mentioned, if you don't want to go through the entire setup, if it's too technical for you, and you want something ready to go, send an email to me at RightToPrivacy@tootnota.com, and I'll be happy to put one together for you, a small Pi box cloud that you can plug in at home and host yourself, and you can access it from anywhere in the world. And it's a nice way to support the channel, so if you're interested in that, just send me an email. That's something I'll be happy to put together for you. And you can add as many users as you like. You know, we have the user list here. You can also connect your email account, so everything can be integrated here on the cloud. There's also different things you can do, such as calendar. Those things are all installed. You can also install additional apps. There's a lot of different apps to choose from, and that is something that is really neat about this. Nextcloud, it's open source, so I have a variety of apps set up. You got the audit logging, and that way I can take a look at anyone who tries to do anything they shouldn't be doing. I've set up the dark view. We have the default encryption 256-bit, so all of the files are stored server-side encrypted using AES 256. We have the end-to-end encryption set up. This provides any necessary endpoint to enable end-to-end encryption using the client. So if you log in using the client, you can have full end-to-end encryption, meaning nothing is in transit viewable. And regardless of all that, there is already encryption, being that we are using a .onion that has encryption built in along the way. We have the health, where we can add our workouts, our weight, our foods, and just keep track of our activities, and it'll graph it on a chart for you. Nextcloud's a really cool cloud system. It's a great setup. Of course, you know, we have the PDF viewer. That way we can read our books on the cloud. We don't have to download it to the device we're using in case we're using, say, a public library or something, and we don't want to store any of our private files there. So many different things you can set up. We have the weather status. All that stuff is right there at your fingertips. You know, we have app bundles. You can get different apps that go together well. You know, you got the hub bundle, the groupware, the social sharing, so you can share things on Facebook or Twitter or through email. So if we did the download, enable, share by email, we'll be able to share our files. It'll send the email file a link that only that user can view, and it wouldn't be viewable by other people. So if you want to share a private file, these things are all additional ways you can do secure collaboration. We've got talk. And as mentioned, talk, it's an encrypted channel for you to discuss things with people you're collaborating with. You know, if you're working on a project together or if you work together. Today I'm going to show you guys how to set up your So when you go through this video as the first step to setting up your own Tor Hidden Service Nextcloud, this is the steps. This short 5-minute video will teach you how to do that, how to set up the hidden service aspect. And all you need to do is switch the port 22 to port 80 and 443, and that will allow you to use the hidden service for the Nextcloud setup. And I'm going to go over more on the next videos how that was done. And that is what I've got today, guys. Like the video, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back later with more on protecting your privacy and the Nextcloud.